Hello everybody, this is Finch, and today is a little special cast on kind of what Patreon is and what I'm doing, and just going to explain it as quick as possible and as clear as possible so there's no confusion and kind of answer everybody's questions. So what is Patreon? Patreon is a pretty new service. It's kind of a, think Kickstarter, but for smaller projects, for either individual videos or monthly or individual songs. There's a whole number of reasons. Rather than a Kickstarter where it's, hey, we're going to fund a bunch of money and we're going to make this giant project. Patreon's more about smaller bits of money and more of a sustainable, constant flow for content creators, and also for the people viewing the content and podcasts and whatever it may be. The whole idea behind it is just kind of a win-win because the people making the content have a little bit more sustainability. They kind of have an idea what they're able to do as far as funding and hosting and all that kind of stuff that kind of goes into the costs of creating content. And then also the people on the other side who are wanting to get a little bit more, think of a little bit extra, kind of like a tip, but they're getting a little something in return. That's kind of what Patreon is. And so I'm setting up Patreon. This is just kind of a little social experiment in a way. We're just going to see if people like it. If people don't like it, it's not a big deal. I really like the service and I find it really interesting and fascinating. And I think it's going to be super popular over the next couple of years. So I just kind of wanted to just give it a shot, and so we're going to see how it goes. I will put a link to the Patreon profile in the comment of this video. It's just patreon.com/indiefinch, same as my Twitter, and you can go there and you can see all the stuff. So I have the page over in this area. You see right here, I just have a little title and all that kind of stuff. There's a little picture of me and my ugly mug, and there is a video associated to this. It's kind of like just like a preview video. And then a little bio down here. So the parts that are key for people to kind of key in on and understand this stuff, if you find it interesting, read it. If you don't find it interesting, it's not a big deal. It's these milestone goals over here, and as well as down at the bottom, the rewards that people get for pledging a small amount of money. And so pretty much for these goals, it's set up right now for it's per month. The idea is when you each reach these goals, these things happen. The one thing that's a little bit different for me is all of these things that are on here, I think I have 4 of them on here right now, are things that I'm working on and I want to finish and I really hope to get done in a timely manner. I just put these goals on here because if we're able to meet them, then it makes it that much easier to make them happen now or tomorrow rather than going, okay, I'm going to try to do that in a couple weeks and trying to plan things out. So right now I just have goals for setting up some podcasts from some of the shows that we're doing, more guides, working with pro players on creating guides for the heroes they specialize in and they work on and things like that. And then also the last one's kind of a thing I've been working on for a bit, and it's going to come out sooner or later. I'm writing a book, but who knows when that's going to come out. It's a long ways off. It's just a matter of plucking away at that. So the part that is actually good for people is going to be the rewards and the things that you can benefit from directly. And what I did so far is I just kind of clumped up the current stuff that I'm doing on the side that I've been doing for a long time and just put them in here so people getting those services can just come here and do it. It's a little bit easier to do it rather than trying to go, hey, let's do this through PayPal and set it up through Skype and all this kind of silly stuff. This will just be real quick, real easy. So pretty much what we have here is have $1, $5, $10, $20, $25. The idea behind these is you get a little something. It really helps me out a lot. And you get a little something in return, which is good for you. So the first one, $1 a month. This one is just people willing to give tips and just help me out. I think you have my everlasting thanks, and it's just a nice way if you enjoy the videos that I've done and the podcasts I've done over the last year, 2 years, 3 years, however long it's been. And people always reach out and say, hey, how can I support you or how can I help you out? I ordered some products of companies that are sponsoring you, and what else can I do? This is just kind of an answer to that for those people that if they feel like they want to give a little bit more, then this is a super easy way that it's directly coming towards me and I can keep doing more stuff. And so $1 is just, it's a dollar. It's cheap. It doesn't really, most people don't think of $1 as much, but it does actually mean a lot and it really helps. And it helps me kind of reach some of those goals, especially the ones for the podcast. Like the hosting on those things is kind of a pain because then it's like, you start adding up, okay, I got 4 or 5 different shows, I'm paying a certain amount a month. And it just kind of spirals out of control real quickly, especially when you're not really doing this stuff full time and you have other things to put money towards. So that's $1. $5 is going to be kind of the same thing. The idea behind it is $5 really helps me a ton. It's about a cup of coffee, a month. It's not that much. But the idea is if with these people I want to try to keep more interaction, I'm going to try to interact with everybody as much as possible. $1 I'm definitely going to be posting people's stuff here and doing things on here, but the $5 is going to be kind of the people who I'm going to be talking with the most. So if you want to have any kind of input on what happens next, then this is kind of the tier that I want to start interacting with people on. So, say I'm going to do another guide, I'm working with, X pro player, and there's 5 different heroes to choose from. I'm going to go to these people and say, hey, we're going to do a guide for these 5 heroes. Which one do you want to see first? Same thing for episodes of the Dota Clinic or any other shows out there. Say, hey, we're going to do this. It's this topic, this topic, this topic. Which one do you want to see? And I'm just going to try to keep the pulse of those people. And also for other content, for other games or other mediums, whatever it may be, I want these people to kind of be the inner circle of saying, giving me feedback on what they like, what they don't like, what they want to see more of, all that kind of good stuff. So that is the $5. And then the rest of these, the 10, 20, and 25, are things that I've been doing over the past probably about a year or so now. So I've done quite a long time of doing things of this sort. And before, it's just people contact me directly and then kind of working it out and trying to figure out a game plan and everything like that. For these, I just kind of place them up here, and it makes it a little bit easier to kind of understand and know what you get. So $10 a month is going to be a replay analysis. The idea behind this is if you have a bunch of games of Dota and you're just kind of going, what went wrong in these games, or why did I do so bad, whatever it may be. Replay analysis just gives you a second set of eyes to where I can go in there, I can watch your replays, and then I can kind of give you some feedback on what maybe you did right or what maybe you did wrong or maybe what you could do better. Maybe you were having a hard time with micro and your control groups seem all messed up, or your item hotkeys seem messed up, and kind of figure out a better solution. The idea behind this is just, it's like I said, a second set of eyes to where I can maybe point out some areas where you're lacking and kind of where you can and how you can improve. I don't want to just send you back a message saying, okay, you're not doing very good at last hitting, so fix that. And then that's it. I don't want to do that. The idea is, give me 5, 6, 7 replays, whatever it may be, and then we can kind of, find like a story amongst all those and say, hey, you know what, you're playing support in all these games. You're just not really, your ward placements are in places where it's too obvious, and, let's kind of shake it up, and you can place them here, or, things like that, to where it just gives you a little bit more feedback and kind of the direction that, you can improve in. So that's going to be the $10-ish mark. And then the one thing too is if you get any of these, you get everything else prior to it. It's not just like if you get this, that's all you get. You get everything up the cheaper ladder. So the next one up is going to be $20 a month. This is something that's a little bit different. Rather than looking at Dota directly, it's more of talking about things outside the game. And so one of the common things I work with a lot of people on, both actually in life and in Dota, is kind of the idea of kind of controlling your anxiety and focusing and dealing with people and just like a whole bunch of issues. And a lot of those issues are things about the Dota Clinic. Like, that's the reason why we started the Dota Clinic, was because I really enjoy that stuff and I find that stuff fascinating and interesting. So this tier is going to be working kind of one-on-one, consulting each month. Don't think I have an exact time, but I said an hour. It'd be like an hour, 2 hours a month. Just kind of figuring out what you've been doing wrong, and then trying to give you some strategies on how to deal with it. So if you're someone who gets super anxious when it comes to queuing a game or playing with your teammates, or you're having problems with your team, that's kind of stuff we can work on. Or say you're somebody who wants to sit down and create some goals because you're trying to get to a semi-competitive type tier, and you made your goals but you're not sure if they're good. I can sit down with you, we can tweak them, we can figure out what you can do to get there. The idea behind this is just things that aren't directly related to Dota, but they're things that are with you personally, and I can assist you with, and things that you want help with, and you're willing to kind of sit down and try to figure it out. And then the last one is kind of both these things combined, and that is going to be coaching. So $25 a month, spend at least 2 hours a month with you or your team, going over Dota 2 stuff. This one too, I say it's a combination of both, because I feel like with coaching, it's really easy to sit down and tell somebody, hey, you did this wrong, this wrong, this wrong, and then go fix it. And that's it. There's not really much feedback on kind of that process. So what I want to do with this kind of tier is I do want to sit down at least, during that time, whatever it may be during the month, whenever we can meet up, go over kind of what you're trying to work on. So that would be kind of the mind stuff. Look at the goals, like, hey, I'm trying to get a better support, I'm getting better at carry. Maybe pick 4 or 5 heroes that you're trying to work on, and then we can either go over replays, we can jump into a game. The coaching system is actually really, really useful within Dota 2. And so the idea is just we kind of figure out what you need to work on. We'll work on it a bit, and then I'll be able to do the same thing, kind of set up a game plan for you and say, hey, you know what? You need to cut your hero pool down. You need to work on recognizing these skill builds. You need to practice double pulling in the jungle or stacking, whatever it may be. I want to help you identify the area that you're kind of going wrong, and then also identify how we can fix it moving forward. And so people who have done coaching in the past and things like that, this is just kind of an easy way to just do a monthly, kind of just keep it going throughout the month. The one nice thing is, so you do this 25, then you can still do these things. So like, say you're doing 25, we do 2 hours of coaching, you want to work on an hour on working on your, setting your goals or something like that. And then also you have 5 replays you want me to look at, so then you can get that as well. So it's kind of like a tiered system. I mean, it is a tiered system. I don't know what the proper word is, but you can get, this, and you can go up the ladder in a way. And so that is kind of what Patreon is, and the whole idea behind this is that rather than me right now, the way it's going, which I'm throwing out videos and throwing out content, throwing out series, and kind of getting some feedback on Twitter and other places, and also doing some coaching and some assistance on the side, and that kind of works, and all that kind of stuff. I just want to combine it all together so that people who want to do that stuff on the side can just come here. It works out. The people who just want to go, hey, you know what, I really like your stuff, man, here's $1. Great. Those people are awesome, and this is an easy way to do that. And then also just kind of keeping it on the up and up so you guys know what I'm working on. So over here you kind of see what's going to happen when I get to these areas. Like, these things are things I'm working on, but I don't know if they're going to happen today. But I can tell you if I get to this part, if I hit $40 a month, you better believe that both these podcasts are going up, because I'm not going to go, yeah, we made the goal, but I'll do it next month. Like, it's one of those things that puts that instantly on the top of the priority chart. And also, if you guys have feedback or comments on kind of goals that you would like to see, one of the common ones people seem to kind of like would be things such as like Q&As, I guess, like in-house games, like community games, like just more like interactive stuff, streaming, things like that. That's all totally viable here, but it's one of those things, if people want it, I'll add it. If you don't want it, it's not that big of a deal. Like, I'll just stick with these. And then same thing with the rewards. I tried to just take the things that I'm currently doing, these 3 here, and just add them to this. But the same thing, if you think like, hey man, it would be really cool if we could do this, I think this would be an easy thing. We'll add a $3 tier, or we'll add a $2 tier, or we can add a higher one, whatever it may be. The whole idea behind this is just I want to support the people who are supporting me. I want to give back a little bit more, and then if they want a little bit more, they have the avenue to give back a little bit more. And then with these things, I'm not going to claim to make you the world's greatest Dota player, but at the same time, I can at least try to help you figure out where you're going wrong, and then more importantly, figure out how to fix it. That's the kind of the key, is getting the game plan, getting the correct feedback. It's easy to critique people. It's hard to critique people and figure out how they can fix it, and then it's even harder to see that progress going forward if it actually works. And that's kind of the key behind all the coaching stuff. And so we'll see how that goes for the future. And so like I said, I'll put Patreon in the comments to this video. It's just patreon.com/IndyFinch. And then, hit me up on Twitter, hit me up on the comments in the video, wherever it may be. And we can kind of go over if you like it, if you don't like it. And, if everybody hates it, then we just won't do it. If you're a person who goes, I don't want to give any money to that, that sounds dumb, well then don't do it. We'll be in the exact same boat as we were for the past, I don't know, a couple years. Like, it's not that big of a deal. It's just, it's for the people who are really interested in this type of service and really want to get a little bit more out of it. So that is you. Great. I love you, and it's going to be fantastic. If you're not a person like that, then hey, who cares? Things are going to be going on just as they are now. It's not that big of a deal. So let me know. Until then, I will see you guys next time with whatever show comes up next. Enjoy the rest of your week or work day, whatever it may be. You can follow me on Twitter at IndyFinch. It's INDIEFINCH. And that is that. Take care, guys.